Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to jump right into it on what we talked about and what we discussed during our IVF consultation. Yesterday was our IVF consultation. I did not get a chance to film the afterwards because it was crazy. Yesterday was extremely busy, crazy. Our appointment was at 7:40 in the morning. It lasted about 3 to 3.5 hours long. I come back to town for an acupuncture appointment. So yesterday was incredibly busy and long, so I didn't get a chance to record this, but I do want to fill you guys in on all of the things that are going down. Our IVF consultation was full of information, so much information actually. It was like when we got there initially, I don't know if this is how it is for everybody else, but when we first got there, they did a vaginal ultrasound. I've had those done before, but it was interesting to have that done before you've even met the doctor. So, which I actually like. It made me feel like they were getting right down to business. So, went in, gave them my insurance card, went through, did the vaginal ultrasound. Then after the vaginal ultrasound, we went into a separate room and we waited for the doctor. The doctor came in and we discussed pretty much everything, all my questions, the timeline, everything. So I'm going to pull up what my questions were and what the answers to those questions were, so that way you all know all the information that we got. So one of the big questions that I had was the PCOD versus PCOS. She said they're completely comparable. They're both the same thing, so it'll be the same timeline for that. Can I continue keto? She said absolutely. She wanted me to continue keto and continue doing that. Actually initiated that discussion by saying, are there any special diets that you're on? And I said keto, and when I said keto, she's like, good, stay on that. So I didn't even have to ask her. The vitamins and supplements that I'm taking, she said yes, continue with those. She only added one more. She added cinnamon. She said that is also helpful with insulin resistance, and so I'm going to be taking 1.5 milligrams of cinnamon, which is a question that I had for her actually, because the only thing I could find in cinnamon was 1,000 milligrams. I saw 1,200 milligrams. So my husband's like, she probably meant 1,500 because she said 1.5 milligrams. She probably meant 1,500. But then right underneath that was the inositol, the myo-inositol, and it said 2,000 milligrams of that. I'm pretty sure it said 2,000. But yeah, so I'm like, if she actually wrote out 2,000 of that, why wouldn't she write out 1,500 of the cinnamon? So I do have to ask her about that, but I did start taking 1,000, so we'll see. Hopefully that won't mess anything up, but I did start taking that. It's kind of a weird, we'll get into that in a later video. The prenatal, she wanted me to continue the prenatal. She said my prenatal was fine. I didn't need a prescription. She was going to check my vitamin D to see if it's like right on track. I have not received those results yet, but she did draw those. So it should, as soon as they find out, they'll let me know. How many embryos are transferable? She said that she would like one, but sometimes they do two, depending on how many you actually have how many you get. If you have a large number of embryos, then they like to do them one at a time. If you don't have so many, then they are willing to do two sometimes. So that can kind of depend, and they wanted to discuss that later on with us as it gets closer and as that becomes more of a thing. So what she said for timeline was she really wants to do a fresh cycle. Last video I told you guys that I really preferred a frozen cycle. I've just heard so many positive things about frozen cycles, but you know, my husband is super excited about it and feels like it's the right thing to do, so I'm going to trust that, and I'm going to trust the doctor. And so if it's possible to do a fresh cycle, we will be doing a fresh cycle. If we do a fresh cycle, that cycle would be about 6 weeks. If it does need to be pushed back because of overstimulation or anything like that, then it would turn into 3 months. So, and then it would be a frozen cycle. So I wasn't 100% sure about that, but I'm going to trust. Trust. The hysteroscopy. She said no, we are not going to do another hysteroscopy, but she said we will do a saline ultrasound. And then also the testing with the dye, which I still don't know what that's called. She said I do not need it. She doesn't think I'm a good candidate for it. So she doesn't think that it will affect me in any way. So she's not going to do that. Will there be hormone preparation before the transfer? Absolutely, she said. She's definitely going to make sure that my body is ready for it and that everything is going to, you know, prepared smoothly for it for transfer day. And overstimulation stats. She said she's been at the clinic for over 11 years, and out of 11 years, she said that that clinic has only had one where it's gotten really serious hospitalization wise. The rest, no, it's very mild, if any, overstimulation. So I thought that was really good. Of course, even one is bad, but one out of thousands and thousands of cycles and stuff like that, that makes me feel a little bit better, more confident. And so I'm not scared, as scared as I was when I first went in about overstimulating. I do know that right after her, we talked to the genetic testing guy. He automatically came in. I think he talks to everybody. And he said that that clinic actually has really good success rates with the fresh transfers, which made me feel better because I have not heard very good things about fresh transfers. Most of the people I see who do fresh transfers don't have good luck. And so I was really nervous about that. If you guys have had good luck or you know anything about fresh transfers, please comment down below because I'd love to get your input and feedback on fresh versus frozen. So any specific medications, she said that most likely we will do the gonadotropins, which are the injectables. She didn't specify what or how much, but I will receive that when I receive my calendar. So right away after my appointment, I went in for some blood work. Trent went in for some blood work and a semen analysis, and they wanted to wait for that blood work to come back. They basically took a pregnancy test and they gave me Provera for 10. They gave me Provera for 10 days, and I should get my period on the 10th to 14th day, I believe they said. And so basically they can't give you Provera unless they know you're not pregnant. So, which, you know, you wouldn't want to do that anyways, but yeah, so they got my pregnancy test results, and so I'm on Provera now. Once that goes, from what I understand, once I get my period, then I call them back, and then they will prescribe me a prescription birth control, and then I'll be on that, and then they'll start incorporating all the other medications when I get that cycle, like when I have a full cycle. So from the ultrasound, everything looked great. Once I get on the birth control, then they will start monitoring everything, and I will get my calendar at that point, and I will know specific timelines other than fresh or frozen, because you won't know that unless you know if you overstimulate. So that is to be decided, or to be determined, but we will see. How many embryos can be frozen and what are the storage costs? So the storage costs vary, and I'll get into that more in another video because the costs of it, we got a total breakdown of everything that it costs, and it's a bit intense. Can embryos be transferred if we move? Yes, they can. If we move to a different clinic, then they absolutely can be transferred. They get in it. Well, not actually our first. Today I wanted us to